Hey guys, Lena here, and this is my next video that I want to talk a little bit more about National Novel Writing Month. So if you actually haven't heard of National Novel Writing Month, you might want to check out the other video on my page that I've already done about NaNoWriMo 2014. But in this video I want to talk a little about books, which is why I'm wearing my little Hufflepuff shirt. Yes, I'm a Hufflepuff. Yes, I know we're very underappreciated. I was really into Pottermore when it first came out, and at first when I was sorted into Hufflepuff, I was really devastated. I was like, really? I've always fancied myself as a Gryffindor, I don't understand. But the more I read into like Hufflepuffs, and the more that I was I learned to embrace it, essentially, is what I'm saying. But I want to talk a little bit about, first I guess I want to talk a little about writing journals. So, personally, I've always been super big on journals, and I have a huge box full of writing journals that I've kept over the years, and I'm not going to pull them out because there's quite a few, but one of my more recent ones has been this one right here. And what I like to do when I have my writer's journals is I like to write different names that I love on like the cover page here. I like it because that way if I need to come up with like a different character or something, I can just look over at the beginning of the front of my writer's journal and be like, okay, well, which one of these names is cool? Like, which one can I think of? Like, I have a really big problem coming up with names. This journal was, started one of the years that I first did NaNoWriMo. It's either the first or the second year, I don't really remember. And so one of the first pages is actually, Novel Fever Takes the World by Storm. And so it's like this little piece about NaNoWriMo that I was super excited about. So what I like to do personally with my writer's journals is I like to both spend time like outlining my novel. So like this was one of the novels that I originally first did. I really think this journal is from 2011 and 2012. I think I used it for both years. But this was one of the first outlines that I did, and I have this smiley face stamp that I use all the time when I'm doing NaNoWriMo, and I actually lost it this year, and I'm really devastated about it because this will be my 4th year doing NaNoWriMo, and I'm not going to have my smiley face stamp, and that matters to me a lot. I need consistency in my life, and I feel like I need to go out and buy another new one. But anyways, so I like to like outline, I like to write little character bios, and I don't just use, writer's journals for NaNoWriMo, I like to use it for other things too. So I have lots of like really short poems. I like to outline different books about writing that I've found, and I like to find different like quotes that I think would be really interesting for characters. And another thing I like to do is I like to find different in this one specifically, I did this thing, like animal associations, and I was talking about if you were comparing a person to a certain animal, what aspects of like that animal's like characteristics would you be applying to that person, that sort of thing. I did this whole page on weird quirks, and this was like in 2011, and that's a really bad, poorly drawn drawing of a duck. We didn't go back to that place, but anyways. So I like to, what really gets me when I'm reading specifically is I like it when characters will do, I like the little things, like if they like brush off away a piece of their hair, or if they like stutter a little bit, if they like chew their nails a certain way, or like, like if they're doing, it's like the little things that really get me, if they talk with their hands, or if they wear like a certain piece of jewelry every day, or whatever it is. So this is kind of like a little page on quirks about that, and I just like to refer back to it every once in a while. Let me see. What other stuff do I like to do? Oh, story ideas. I forgot I did this actually. Okay, cool. This is good to know actually. And it's always nice, just sidebar, I really like to go back over my writer's journals every couple of years and just check out what was I thinking back then, what was I doing. So this is like some story ideas that I'd written out originally, and things like that. This page goes back a little bit to personality traits, And this is like ADHD tics and schizophrenia tics and ADD symptoms and stuff. I personally have ADHD, if you couldn't already tell, because I tend to go back and forth and get very easily distracted, which I know is cliche, but anyways. So, it's little things that, I like to do. I like to write out. So you can use your writer's journal however you really want to. It's basically your own way to express whatever you want to express. I have lots of character descriptions here and different conversations that I did. And I write a lot of letters to my characters. I really like to do that. And then I like to write letters back to myself from the point of view from my character. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's something that I personally really enjoy doing. Oh, I think I found this when I first did NaNoWriMo, and it's the writer's oath. And I haven't read this in a while, actually. It says, I solemnly swear to write as often as I possibly can, and to write as much as I can. I promise to respect my writing self, and nurture the writings of others. I will write better and more in order to expand my writer self. I will read whenever possible and expand my vocabulary. I swear to save everything I write and to learn from my mistakes. I accept these responsibilities and shall honor them always. And I'm pretty sure that's something I found on the internet. I don't think that's something I came up with, but I'm really glad that I went back to that. I feel a lot better about myself now, especially going into NaNoWriMo 2014. So that's really awesome. So yeah, so this is one of my old writer's journals, and I love this. This is one of my favorites, actually, that I really, really care about. One of the new ones that I'm using now is a little bit smaller, but it is a similar color. This one right here. And I like to write little, another thing I like to do is just fun little facts. Just about random different things. I like to randomly write out song lyrics. I like to write out quotes and just doodle and stuff. People I admire. Anything really. I just love. And this one specifically, I did lots of math problems because one day I was just working on math and also writing, and so I was just using the same notebook for it. But anyway, if you don't use a writer's journal, I highly suggest you do, even if you prefer to type on a laptop. I personally, when I'm writing my story, I like to write better on a laptop. When I'm planning my story, I like to write it all out. I love putting the pen or the pencil to paper and just really kind of deciding what I really want to come up with in the way that's a little bit more free form, if you know what I mean. So that's a little bit on that. I do also want to talk a tiny bit about different books that I've used in the past that really, really, really helped me get through NaNoWriMo. So, one of the first ones I want to talk about is Plot and Structure. It's by James Scott Bell, and I have lots of little post-its and things. And this is one of the books that I actually outlined in this writer's journal right here, different aspects of it. And this is really helpful. I use this, I don't know if I said this already because ADHD, but I used this my very first year during doing Nano, and it helps a lot with the plot and structure and the techniques that you're using, and it's something that I really, really recommend. I personally enjoyed it a lot. Chapter 1, What is Plot Anyway? And I like the voice of this. I like, I don't know, I like the way it really broke it down for me. And I think because I was, I was still in high school, I didn't really have a ton of experience with writing outside of essay writing, and I had always kind of wanted to write these longer, more extravagant stories. But I didn't know how to break them down. I mean, specifically because of, ADHD is a thing that I have, but also because I just wasn't sure how to break it down. Writing a 50,000 word novel can seem really, really scary. It's something that's massive, and it's hard to plan, and this was something that really, really, really helped me plan that, so I really recommend this book. I really loved it a lot. This other one is The Writer's Notebook, Unlocking the Writer Within You. It's by Ralph Fletcher, and this is kind of how after I read this book, this is kind of how this is how I do my writer's notebooks. Words are hard when they're said aloud, especially anyways, so it says what is a writer's notebook anyway? I I have lots of different things, like cool different tools to use in your writer's notebooks. This is just really, really cool. Writing down your dreams is a cool thing to do, especially because, you know, in your dreams you have a little bit less control over what you're dreaming, and so you're a little bit more creative. And like, I've written a lot of short stories and a lot of different poems based on dreams that I've had, and it was mostly because I've written them down. I'll write down a dream like as soon as I have it, and I don't have a specific dream journal. I know some people do, but I personally will just have just write it in my normal journal. So anyway, this is a really good one if you want to figure out, like, if you want to do a writer's notebook but you don't know necessarily what you want to put in it. This is one that I would recommend for that. Now the next one that I want to talk a little bit about is No Plot, No Problem. It's written by Baty, and if you don't know who he is and you're doing NaNoWriMo, you need to know who he is, essentially. Baty was the founder of National Novel Writing Month. And so this is his low-stress, high-velocity guide to writing a novel in 30 days. So this is essentially the NaNoWriMo Bible. Like, this is a really, really good read. This is one I would check out just, you know, to figure out what is NaNoWriMo. Like, it's something you're, like, interested in doing. Are you equipped to do this? This helped me a lot because it breaks it down per week, I believe. Yeah, I think at one point it breaks it down per week, so it helps you really kind of map it out. I remember last year when I was doing Nano for the 3rd time, I had just bought this book. I didn't buy this till the 3rd year. But I just bought this book, and so I was kind of slowly reading it as I was doing NaNoWriMo. And things like this, along with the forums on the NaNoWriMo site, and different chat rooms, and things like Tumblr and stuff, are really, really helpful and effective. Part of the reason why I personally am more of a productive writer during NaNoWriMo is because you have this sense of community, you know? And I think that's something that's really important, and I think that's one of my favorite things, essentially, about NaNoWriMo. So really quick before I finish this video, the last thing that I want to talk about is this book, Bird by Bird, by Lamont? Really, really bad. And this one I recommend, even though I have not finished it yet. I actually am about this far into it. And this one I've actually seen this quoted several times in different classes that I've taken in college and things like that. But this one is really, really good if you just want to figure out how to write. Like, how does one even take words that you're thinking, or take words that you want to say, or take some sort of story, or some sort of plot, or some sort of poem, anything that you have in your head, and how does one put it down on paper? You do it bird by bird, which is essentially just bit by bit. You just gotta keep working towards it. And this one, right now, I am really, really enjoying it. And it says some instructions on writing in life. And you know what? That's how I feel about it right now. I'm feeling very, very, very good about this book, and I'm feeling very, I feel like I'm going to get a lot out of this, and this has been very highly recommended to me by several people, and I am personally really, really enjoying it. So that's all for now. If you guys have any other books for NaNoWriMo that you recommend, or anything that I didn't talk about in this video that you think should be mentioned, go ahead and just leave me a comment in the little comments box, and check up for any updates. Please subscribe, and I'll be posting a lot more of these videos as November continues. Thanks, guys!